Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was in a super old um, Linux Zoom event. You remember? I still
Uh,
have it in my calendar,
okay.
just to block the slot, and in
Yeah.
parallel the proper one. And from time to time, I click the wrong thing. So,
Yeah, there's two in my calendar right now, and I'm not sure why. I have to check that out. Hey, can you bring me the lighter? The lighter. Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
you are already celebrating on a nice
Yeah,
island, right?
you know where I am. So you either see that or you see all of the boxes and pillows
Yeah.
behind me. So, good, thank you. Yeah, so how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, 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 good. Oh, that's not right. That's not working either. Okay. Do 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 do.
Michal joined the room.
Hey guys,
Hello.
hello, good
Hello,
How are you
afternoon.
how are you?
doing?
Good, thanks. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
loud and clear.
All right. Should we get started? Yeah, I think we've got
Farhan
enough
joined.
people.
Farhan
Yes.
joined.
Hello. Oh,
Dina
and
joined.
Dima.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
full
This is a
house today.
real,
Yeah,
yeah. What's happening here today? All right. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see what we've got here.
try
This
the guys.
one. Hello.
And
Hello.
then our
There we go. Can you see it?
yes.
Good. So today is tax day in the US. So
Gosh.
it's a, a day dear to my heart. I spent hours yesterday doing my taxes. So,
Yeah, I've heard
all
some
right.
war stories from US tax reporting. That might be harsh.
Yeah, well, I also this year, so I had some crypto and I sold some crypto, and that required quite a lot of extra reporting. So,
Oh,
so it's unexpected that it would be so much. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'll just get started like usual. I'll go from the top to the bottom, and if you have something you want to talk about, just stop me. But yeah, we got our first blog post. It's not actually up there yet. I'll let Farhan explain why, but it looks nice. I think it's a good beginner-friendly guide as it says. But if you want to talk about it, Farhan, and maybe say why it's not actually on the site yet. Are you there? Oh,
Yeah,
there you
sure.
are.
Yeah. I think I was on mute. Yeah. So I think it's because of the latest release with 0.19. So we have to maybe add master branch to the selector, which I have created a PR. So once that is there, maybe we can set master as default, and then so the landing page would also gather all the blocks that are there, merged with the master instead of. So currently we have different versions that is being deployed. So this is going. Every block is becoming a directory with the respective version. So it should be part of master. So we have to add master as default page, and we should also add master as selector in the main site.
yeah, that makes sense from mechanics perspective, but uh, and for the goal of immediate visibility of the fresh material, like a blog post. On the other hand, we introduce the versioning to actually not to automatically show the most recent documentation that is not relevant to the released version, right? So something that is not yet released and
Yes.
immediately present documentation. So we suffered from that scenario for a while, right? Until you introduced this nice version selector mechanism. So now it's all kind of gated. So selector definitely makes sense, but showing master by default for the main chunk of documentation is arguable, let's say. So I'm not sure you have to find the proper balance. as it's supported by the same engine, I don't think we can split the main docs from the block, right? So like showing master for the blog post and showing latest release for the doc. I'm not sure if it's feasible because it's same kind of static generation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like why are we went the static page like the blog post? Aren't there better blogging platforms around?
well, that's a good question, but like most probably to that I see that it makes sense for like discovery and having stuff in a same place and bringing more traffic to k8gb.io, not to medium.com, let's say. But yeah, uh,
Well, it shows exactly that problem, right? I mean, there is a project documentation which should be versioned and should be tightened to a certain release, etc., etc. And then there are the blog posts, right,
I
around
agree.
random stuff. It could be the blog post, how we were represented ourselves into a KubeCon and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But does it really belong to the documentation? It's a blog post. My view.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. If we can find, I don't care about the the backend of the where the block lives, right? Too much. But if we can split the life cycles, that would be great, right? If we can immediately show the blog post on any kind of articles and keep the documentation under the version controls, that would be great. Yeah, for sure. So Farhan, if you know like if it's like our existing agent even capable of doing it, like a split lifecycle for different passes in documentation, that might
Sure,
be
sure.
yeah
I'll see if
something.
there's something else we can come up.
Cool. Yeah, let's follow up on that later on. Thank you. And yeah, we need that KubeCon blog post as well. So good point there.
All
That's
right.
something on us with Bradley, I guess. Right, Bradley? The KubeCon blog post. I have pics.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Okay, hold on. It's in a note somewhere, but clearly not close enough to my brain. All right, so then I'll skip ahead to PR reviews because there's a lot of those, and there's a lot of PRs, and I don't
Yeah.
have a very good handle on which are, we've got a bunch of community contributions here. There's a bunch of old stuff. There's 5 or 6 that are over a year old, for example, from Andre. And then there's I think this one, I wasn't sure if this was ready or not. So I don't know what you want to look at first, maybe the zone delegation stuff or the community stuff.
Yeah, Michael Dinar, maybe zone delegation. I think it's important for you guys. Can you comment? Is it everything ready for review? Should we proceed gradually?
Yeah,
What the status?
sure. Sure. We have like I'm preparing multiple PRs because the change is large. So I split it into like multiple. So basically, there are some like refactoring ones, there are the chainsaw ones, and the PR we merged during today was about the rewriting the core DNS reconciliation loop, and it creates automatically the zone delegations. And there is in the draft there is another PR which is the reconciliation for the zone delegation itself. Zone delegation will contain the status, and in that status, there are the IP addresses of particular core DNS services, the thing we get from the GlueA records. What I see there is the corner case that if some external cluster has changed, the IP addresses has changed or node has changed or cluster dismiss or whatever, or we add new cluster, the zone delegation still doesn't reflect it. So this will be like a main, another like main PR, which is not ready yet, is not there yet. And this thing will be executed like in the reconciliation loop, like some duration. And what I decided, we have a GSLBs, and these GSLBs, there is the GSLB loop, and we are still asking for the GUI record, plus we are asking for the, we do the DNS, another DNS query. And this is happens number of external cluster times, times number of GSLBs, and times number of like clusters where the k8gb is installed, and this still makes like huge traffic. We optimize it a lot, but zone delegations should do the same. They should ask the HDNS for the GUI records. So I decided that GSLB loop will be asking for the IP addresses to the zone delegations. We will have like little zone delegations objects per cluster, which will be reconciled to identify the changes of external clusters. And GSLBs will work the very same way. They will not just ask for the GUI. Instead of that, they will ask locally for the zone delegation. Please keep it here. This is the zone delegation object.
Sense.
They will ask this. So this will, I think, very strongly optimize the DNS traffic. You have k8gb installed on the large infrastructures. And then the GSLB do the second DNS request, Second thing, which is still missing, is like zone delegation removing. Or finalizing. It's still not there. It will be handled by this zone delegation reconciliation. And basically, zone delegation reconciliation will read this object, and if we remove it, then there is the question how we reflect on the finalization. Whether to keep it, but we was talking with Dinar, maybe we can do some identifier telling that zone delegation will be by default removed or not, even if you remove the zone delegation object. But this is something which is like large, it's not.
Yeah, it can be part of the spec, right? If like delete
Yeah,
after removal or something like that.
we were thinking about spec or annotations.
No, I think spec is more explicit for that super important goal, I guess. So it's like a part of the API.
Well, this is kind of source of truth, right? And we must have a finalizer there, and we must remove only if the status is our core DNS is the last one, right? Remaining into that into that zone. And I don't think we should make it part of the spec. Annotation should be enough.
Or maybe it doesn't even have a sense, because deleting zone delegation object means like removing zone delegation. Bang, question.
So you mean like there are multiple zone delegations in potentially in multiple clusters, and only the last one should actually dispatch the real deletion. Is that correct understanding?
Yes.
Yeah, but like what will set the annotation, or in that case, how we
No,
decide?
the annotation would be really kind of a last resort. You saying like, no, don't remove even the last one.
Otherwise, otherwise controller will decide. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you can say like in external DNS, you can set the finalized policy, and you should see you could do like dry run or something, and with the dry run mode, we can make it by default at the moment, or documented. It's really up to a decision. But the semantics about that is if the policy is dry run, right? You log the message like this zone is free to might be deleted, right? Or this zone is empty and to be eligible for deletion. And then once you change the policy, that will be actioned.
But where's the policy is defined?
Say it again?
Where's this policy is defined in this case? Do you want to define it in annotation or somewhere else?
Yes. Defined annotation, I don't know, finalized policy.
And why is it not part of the spec? It's to avoid the deviations in the spec configurations, or?
Yeah.
Because like I understand the motivation, like it's not a part of the main conf and kind of secondary, but at the same time, the annotation is never strongly typed. And whatever, like, driven by the annotations, it's usually some form of like a more weak contract than the part of the main spec. So I would just recommend to think about like, what is more convenient and more reliable down the road. But like, because like it can be just be part of the spec with the default value, correct? Default value will be what? Not delete.
Yeah,
Right?
dry run.
Yeah. And in this case, we will just have it like in a part of the API contract, and we can activate it anytime.
Yeah, but from the maintenance point of view, I mean, if you look at the bulk clusters and you let's say you need to deliver that change across the estate, and you believe that the policy is now for you, it's okay, it's fine, and you must perform the cleanup. Yeah, there are other like tool set you can do, annotate, across the estate and change that behavior. Otherwise, you need to, change that spec of the object and deliver it through the release cycle or deployment pipelines and what's not. Yeah, that's exactly like the annotations have a weaker validation, or not validation, but usually when you use something like Argo CD or Fleet in our case, right? Annotations are not kind of part of the state, right? Those are not reverted back by the delivery tools. So there could be a drift, and you can roll this out gradually without affecting the overall deployment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So the question here, like, if you want to be like, imperative and operational centric operation, or you really want to like have a GitOps control and promote it gradually. And the whole zone delegation kind of deletion seems to be something that carefully promote, at least that sounds critical, right? So
no, we don't. We cannot say, well, we don't really care. We delete one zone and we don't delete the other. We talking about more about the policy in general, how we treat the state.
yeah, exactly. So like with a flip of the policy, we will command like delete that zone. And that sounds like a pretty important operation. So leaving it to the annotation that is set imperative by some operator in a mass mode seems to be not strict enough, let's say, compared to the GitOps spec-based validation and promotion mechanisms that you mentioned. So I would default with spec, but definitely something we can discuss later on during the shape of the API.
Yeah, well, to me, it doesn't really kind of belong to a zone, but yeah, it's discussable. 100%.
Yeah, but it represents the state of the external resource, right? So
Yeah.
by default, I would put it in the spec, but like open to discussion, guys, at least.
Guys, but you also open one more thing during the discussion. Any ideas how to identify the last zone delegation?
Yeah.
It's not, well, the zone delegation is one, right?
Yeah,
What we
yeah,
do
but I mean,
with
the
Last
record.
usage, right? Usage of the zone delegation
Yeah.
or
yeah,
whatever you
we
name it. Yeah.
always ask the parent server, say, hey, what that zone delegation consist of, right? You have two core DNSs. It's mine is one of them, right? I'm deleting, I'm removing mine core DNS from that zone delegation and finalize the zone delegation. That means the zone delegation stays the same. If we finalize the zone delegation and our core DNS is the last one to be removed from that zone delegation, we remove the zone delegation.
Yeah, so there is already visibility in the configuration. If a controller finds only own pair of NS and glue record, right? Is that correct?
No, we're talking about
Yeah.
the glue records.
Yeah.
How many glue records? If there are only one and it's ours, we remove it. We remove NS records.
So it's based on glue A.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, I
if
need to.
if the example here is on the EU cluster, so it will remove those two. It will finalize those two. GSLB and SEU, GSLB. Yeah, it will finalize it.
Yes,
So it
but
is a-
NS record will stay the same. But this zone delegation object will be removed from the cluster.
So
Yeah.
if controller, for in this case NSU, will see the configuration in external upstream DNS and will see the another NSUS presence, then it will not remove the zone, right? Zone delegation configuration.
Yes.
Yeah.
No matter what policy is there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If it sees only only own set of records, then it can remove it fully. Is that correct or?
Yes, because we
Yeah.
remove the core DNS and there is nothing to keep the zone delegation for. There is literally no A records left. There will be no one serving the application records.
All right. But hasn't they like, sorry, I'm slightly lost here. So like there is an S plus glue record per core DNS instance, right? And zone delegation resource in this case. When each of them removes own records, what is left? Sorry if I'm blanking on that part.
Oh, only blank zone delegation. NS record without any glue record, which is useless.
Yeah, but an S record in this case is also representing the specific endpoint, right? Specific cluster. An SU, an SUS, no?
No, an SEU and SUS is
This
a glue
origins.
record.
Yeah.
It's a glue records. It's not NS record. NS record is cloudexample.com.
Ah, right. For the whole zone. Got it. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's the last NS record. Yeah, got it. Yeah, then we decided by the presence of non-own records. If again we calculate the own records and it matches what we have in external states, then we are safe to do that.
Yeah, I mean, even if there will be a manual a record, right?
Yeah.
Something left in a zone delegation,
Mm-hmm.
we will not remove it because each site, each cluster takes care about his own glue record.
Right.
Once we deploy k8gb, it tries to fetch the zone delegation or NS record. It's not there. It creates it empty. Then it deploys core DNS and adds the core DNS glue record into that NS record. That's how the zone kind of formed, right? And then
Yeah.
the other cluster starts up. It finds that zone delegation. It sets up its own core DNS and it appends the core DNS to that list. And the deletion happens in the reverse order. There is a potentially a race condition in a way, like both core DNSs are removed from at the same time from the single zone delegation, but this should not happen. That should be still fine because both of them are removing, right? I mean, the core DNS removed and everybody thinks that they are the last one.
Yeah, there is potential of small race condition where they think that they are not the last one, but it's very edge case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of, that's what I'm saying, that the policy is really kind of really to be sure that you have that control and you can potentially, it's to keep the current behavior. Current behavior is we don't remove the delegated zones, right? And there are that core DNS IPs are there. And to preserve that behavior, the current behavior, we introduce the policy, and the policy will basically act the similar way. So it's a granular way to introduce the removal, right? And then once we believe into that process, we kind of switch that policy either by default in the controller or by default into your deployment method. That's why I'm kind of saying it's not really worth to have a spec for that because yeah.
And I totally follow the story, but I think that it's exactly the case for the spec because it's crucial. It affects the crucial part of the behavior. And we can actually affect the default values of that spec whenever we like. We just don't hide this part of functionality behind the annotations that is not strong type of the contract. So in case of the spec, it will be visible. Even in case of default, that, for example, like whatever policy observe only. I'm speaking in crossplane terms. Sorry, we have a very similar scenarios for external resources, right? But it's always explicitly visible in a spec. Otherwise, it's implicit, and you have to document the annotation, and the annotation will live only somewhere in documentation, and it will be like, special quirk compared to the well-documented API field. So that's my main default kind of approach to that things. If we want to express the important part of behavior of the controller and associated resources, we put in the spec. And ideally, we think that's this part of the spec field is something that we can easily evolve in the future, right? So that we can keep it around it shouldn't be mandatory to set it up, right? So it's not something that we want to have, but we will have it as a part of the API contract. We'll have it documented right in the field, and we have an ability to explicitly change the behavior. Like the user will have an ability to change the behavior according to the desired scenario. So that's my take on it.
It's just the thing when the object is in a finalized state. I think you no longer able to change the spec. So if you decide to you know do the cleanup, the object is in a removal state. Yeah, but yeah, we getting into too much details here. I think I just want to. I'm okay with either of the solution. Just we don't need to spend too much time, on this.
Yep. And I think like a good point on the garbage collection mechanism, but we in either case of the policy, either delete and non-delete, I'm not sure whatever you name it, right? Either observe only or like a delete allowed, whatever. Finalizer is not blocked, right? The finalizer is something that will either proceed immediately without waiting for external resource to disappear, or will dispatch deletion. I don't see in which phase like we will be like stuck in a finalizer mode after the garbage collection event of like a deletion timestamps. So again, something we can explicitly set up front, and we will have a deterministic behavior that is testable and something that we can expect from a controller according to the predefined spec. So
okay, cool,
awesome, cool discussion. Really appreciate it. That's super important to plan on the overall behavior of that part of the project. So high level on zone delegation, is it something like what I'm worried about, like for the next release, we will need to highlight it as a part of the release notes first, and ideally point it to some fancy new part of the documentation, how to deal with the zone delegation objects. I wasn't reviewing this last set of PRs. Do we already have this user facing docs or not yet?
Well, we merged some changes in README, as far as I remember. It was 4 of 4. Let me check. It's 4/4, I guess. We already merged it, I guess.
Cool. So I will double check some before the next release. Maybe we'll double check
Yeah,
together if it's like full.
called zone delegation 4/4 README MD. There was a documentation in the mentioned in the topic.
Otherwise, it is non-breaking behavior, right? So it's like in the background, it will create the zone delegation object. The object will be there, but the behavior will stay intact, correct?
Yeah. And basically, it will once you run the new version of k8gb, it will change because we had inside the k8gb, we were working from the objects called delegation zones, not zone delegations. We had objects called delegation zones, and they were specified by config. Because in the configuration you can set, you can have a multi-zone setup, etc. So the k8gb itself, during the reconciliation we merged just today, it builds the zone delegation object from that config, and that zone delegations object are and will be single source of truth. You know,
Right.
so it will automatically migrate you, and if you like to extend your zonal delegations, you will create it by yourself, by some resilience team or by someone.
And zone delegation is purely admin resource.
Sorry?
The zone delegation is purely admin resource that
Yeah.
resides in k8gb namespace, right? JSLB's namespace.
Zone
Or like
delegation,
this part I'm
zone
not sure.
delegation,
Yeah,
zone delegation is not namespace object,
not namespace,
not
right?
namespace.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about airbag and stuff and exposure to the final development team. So the front face interface is still JSLB, right? And it's like admin stuff that is happening behind the lines for the zone delegation on kind of coordinates cluster level. Cool. Yeah, that all sounds like a good design. Cool stuff.
Thanks
Thanks.
to dinner. Oh, thanks to.
Awesome. So we already out of time. Any other things that somebody wants to prioritize? Farhan, you need some peer reviews. Do you want to highlight something?
Well, there are few PR open. They are there for the review. I'll paste it here in the chat.
Yeah, let me know like if you want something like to be reviewed first. Feel free to ping me with a PR link, and I will try to review them this
Sure,
week.
sure.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate the discussion. Thanks all for joining, and have a great week ahead. Cheers.
Have a nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.